Some of the English wouldn't have heard. If they can understand what he's saying, they'd be very offended, but I'm not sure they could.
It would probably flick between John Simpson and Nick Gubbins.
It's Nick Gubbins.
Simo is normally DJ through sort of his speaker set of his tunes. No, not on what he actually produces.
Two very different styles, but I think Simo would shade it just because mix it up, goes to the 80s every now and again, and yeah, I'm happy with Simo's choices normally.
Gubbo's not very good, so if Gubbo gets on, it's time to leave the dressing room.
And it's a real issue at the moment. He's into all those picks great songs and then dodgy remixes with all the flutes and the like tropical house remix. It's dodgy.
Plays shocking pan pipe electro dance, so try and steer clear or nip to the loo when that's on.
I'm up there, and Tom Barber are some big no balls.
The better question would be, do I ever notice anyone who doesn't?
Biggest no balls I've probably seen would go to Tom Barber. Yeah, and he's quick enough as it is, so.
Every single one of our bowlers bowls no balls. I don't really understand it. It's a thing. They do it. They don't bowl them out there, but in the nets, I'm telling you, it's this far at least.
Nick Gubbins has got a few in him, and they're very posh, so they're quite entertaining as well. So.
Yeah, Gubbins. There was a game here against Warwickshire 2 years ago that he got out. It was a poor decision, but it was the most petulant thing you've ever. There's bins, and Simo loves a bin throw actually.
John Simpson, helmet everywhere. Loves, yeah, even though you're ready for it, it still sort of sends you that little shiver as he chucks it down and makes loads of noise.
Ryan Higgins used to play here, plays at Gloucester. I've seen him smash his helmet into 1,000 pieces, and we had another game in the afternoon and he didn't realise up until about 5 minutes before that he couldn't use his lid.
Ollie Rayner would have the best by a mile.
Best hands, leaving us this year, but Ollie Rayner's got the best hands in the slips I think that I've seen.
Ollie Rayner, who played it up until this year, best hands of any slip fielder I've seen in the world. International, domestic, doesn't matter.
And the worst hands would possibly go to Stephen Finn, because I've only seen him in there once and he dropped a catch. And Nick Brown went on to get 180 or something silly like that. So yeah, cost me a lot that day.
Worst hands, I've got to be careful what I say here because I dropped a few goobers this year, but it would have to be...
We all drop them, but Eskenazi's dropped a few last year, but...
Yeah, I actually say myself last year, unfortunately. Nathan Souter.
Bit of a funky bogan Aussie and loves just, you can't even understand what he's saying.
I say he's a bit rough around the edges, old Souty boy from the western part of Sydney, so.
But he's just muttering under his breath while just sort of staring at a bloke, and he's 5'6", so it's always quite entertaining.
Some of the English wouldn't have heard. If they can understand what he's saying, they'd be very offended, but I'm not sure they could.
Like I said, normally he's just sort of spitting and, you know, trying to get his words out. He's certainly someone that gets as fired up as anyone, I'd say. Practical joker would probably have to be Tim Murtagh, I'd say.
Yeah, Tim Murtagh. You'd think a 37-year-old with 2 kids would be the mature one of the group, but could not be more opposite.
Again, Mertz. Yeah, it's definitely Tim Murtagh, I'm afraid.
I'm talking deep heat down the undies, I'm talking taping bats to the ceiling, all sorts.
There's quite an intense period of having to check your underwear every time with some deep heat about for a few years, so yeah.
I don't want to continue going. Nathan Souter, he's gotten better recently. Poor bloke, before he came here, he was really struggling, but he's gotten better. Gubbins is up there, and I'm going to say Helm for someone who fancies himself a little bit.
Worst fashion sense would probably go to Tim Murtagh, just dad fashion all over. Yeah, gets dressed by his wife, so it's got to go to him.
Gubbo wore to an end of season dinner, bearing in mind it was a black tie event, he wore a shirt and had little bananas all over it. To the smartest event of the year, it was incredible.